my video series called Project 250 and my journey to the 2025 Chicago Marathon. I started running shortly after COVID in the year 2021, and a number of people asked me, why do I enjoy running so much? And I would say that the reason or the answer to that question has changed quite a bit as I've progressed through the sport. Initially, I didn't like my appearance. I was overweight. I was closing in on 200 pounds. And so started running just to kind of lose a couple pounds, and through that process ended up signing up for a 10K at the University of Houston. And right after that race, I ended up falling in love with the sport and wanted to get better, wanted to get faster, and eventually progressed to signing up to a half marathon, where it was a little bit of a struggle race. My first half marathon was the 2022 Aramco Houston Half Marathon. Ended up completing that one. Progressed to the Pearland Half Marathon. Ended up doing better. That was the first race that I broke an hour and 30 minutes, which was at that time I thought was a really stretch goal. And went on to complete 7 additional half marathons. Finally decided that I was going to sign up for my first full marathon. At that point in time, it was coming into the summertime, and there were really no full marathons in the Houston area. So I ended up signing up for a race in Salt Lake City, Utah, called the Revel Big Cottonwood. And the primary goal at that point in time was 1, to finish, 2, to try and go under 3 hours, and 3, to try and achieve a Boston qualifying time. The Big Cottonwood race was a challenging race from the standpoint of the race starting at high elevation. I live in Houston, Texas, where we're used to the heat and humidity, but there's not a whole lot of hills to be able to train on, especially downhill. And so going into that race, I was basically focused on increasing miles. At that time, I think I built up to about 60 to 65 miles during my peak week, and showed up and hoped for the best. That was my first marathon, and as you can tell from the videos, I did end up beating my goals as far as 1, finishing the race, 2, going under 3 hours with a time of 2 hours, 58 minutes and 10 seconds, and 3, getting a Boston qualifier. From there, that's been my PR ever since I started running the marathon distance. I went on to race Boston, where I ended up finishing in 3 hours and 5 minutes and 40 seconds. That was my second marathon. The goal of that race was to go and have fun and enjoy my family and friends that joined me on the trip. We had about 15 people that went with us, and it was a life-changing experience. Boston holds a very special place in my heart, and that race was just epic, is the best word to explain it. And so then shortly after Boston, in the fall of 2023, I ended up signing up for the Chicago Marathon. And part of that was my goals kind of shifted from running a marathon to qualifying for Boston. I completed Boston, and currently the goal is to complete all 6 of the world major marathons. I know that Sydney was additionally added this past year. I'm kind of putting that one on the back burner. My goal is to try and complete the first 6 marathons in the Abbott World Marathon Majors. And to date, I've completed 2 Bostons, Chicago, New York City, and the Berlin Marathon, with Tokyo and London still remaining. So in May of 2024, I ended up bringing Coach James on board, and we started to work towards a PR at the Berlin Marathon. Basically, I was going after 2 hours and 55 minutes was the goal, and ended up putting in the work, to be honest. The plan was to put in about 75 miles, similar approach to what I did in the spring for the 2024 Boston Marathon. And through that, there were a few challenges. One, I would say that the time difference from the US over to Germany probably played a role in my performance there in Berlin. But also the race was very, very disorganized. I ended up running into several challenges at multiple water stations. Ended up just getting really frustrated in the middle of the race because things weren't going as smoothly as expected. However, with that being said, I still put together a pretty good race from the standpoint of time, and ended up finishing in 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 44 seconds, just 34 seconds off of my PR. This was very significant because at that point in time, I had only ran in the 258s on a downhill course, and it was my first marathon. So this basically told me, I still have a lot of work to do, and I can improve my times. The Berlin Marathon the block was great, and I ended up putting in the work, but I'm ready to go after a more aggressive time. And so I've had some conversations with my coach, and we're looking at Chicago Marathon this year, 2025. Throughout this video series, the plan is to touch on a number of different topics related to running marathons. However, in this first episode, we're going to outline the goal, and we're going to talk about the training that is going to be involved between now, May 5th, and October 12th, the date of the Chicago Marathon. So the goal for this marathon is to run under 2 hours, 50 minutes. And so that's equivalent to a 6-minute, 29-second average mile pace for 26.2 miles. And so that's a rather aggressive goal, but I think with the training that I've been through in the past and my current fitness level, I'm in a spot where I can try and go for a big number here. So I've sat down with my coach and we've outlined the training schedule. So we're gonna work towards 4-week training blocks. So if we look at that, that's going to be 24 total weeks until the Chicago Marathon, which is going to be approximately 6 training blocks total. And so my coach also wants me to look at possibly running a half marathon sometime in July or August. And so I've been currently actively looking for some races, preferably not in the Houston area. So I may end up having to travel for that. But the game plan is to use that as kind of a calibration and see kind of where we're at and what changes we might need to make to our training schedule. If we break down what the week looks like in this training block, for this first 4 weeks, the plan is to do easy runs on Monday. Tuesdays will be meant for double tempo days, so that's going to be a hard effort. I've never done double tempo days. I've always done just a tempo run as a single effort in one day's time. So it'll be interesting to see how my fitness improves as we introduce that to the training schedule. Wednesday will be more of a recovery run type day, so really easy, super chill, just trying to recover from Tuesday's effort. Thursday, the plan is to do a Hyrox specific workout in the mornings, followed up with an easy run afterwards. Friday in the morning, easy run with followed up with a strength effort in the afternoon, just to kind of keep that at least two strength efforts in my training for the week. Saturdays will be my long runs, and Sundays the plan is to do speed intervals at the track with the Hyrox Run Club in the afternoons. So here's the training block broke out week by week. If we look at week 1, on Monday I had a 6-mile easy run. Tuesday was my first double tempo day where I did a 15-minute tempo run in the morning and a 15-minute tempo run in the afternoon. And the target pace was between 6:05 and 6:10. And I hit the paces on both of those workouts. On Wednesday, we moved to an easy run or recovery run, which was 5 miles easy. Thursday, I ended up going to the Hyrox workout at 5 a.m. and then afterwards ended up running 6 miles easy. Friday, I ended up doing 7 miles easy in the morning, and in the afternoon, I did a runner's reset workout with a 10-minute row. On Saturday, I did a little over 13-mile long run. And then on Sunday was the Hyrox Run Club, where I ended up doing interval sets. And the way those intervals worked was we started with 1,000 meters. And as we progressed from 1,000 to 800 to 600 to 400, your average pace or your pace should increase. So you should naturally get faster as the intervals get shorter. And so through all that, I ended up running right at a little over 55 miles for week 1. So as I moved into week 2, I ended up having some travel for work this week, so I wasn't able to attend the Hyrox training class on Thursdays. However, I was able to get all my runs in for the week. On Monday, I ended up having a 7-mile easy run. Tuesday, I ended up doing the 20-minute tempo run in the morning. So this second week, we had added 5 minutes to the tempo runs. The morning session went really well. Ended up hitting all my paces, didn't have to stop, and was very happy with that workout. Ended up having to board a plane and fly to Amarillo, Texas for work. And then that afternoon did the PM tempo run of 20 minutes, and it was tough. Part of the reason was because there were 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and it was very dry, just because I was further away from the coast. So there were some challenges related to weather. However, I ended up pushing through. I did end up hitting all the paces. However, I did have to stop 3 times, I believe, in that workout. Then as we moved to Wednesday, I had a 5-mile recovery run from Tuesday's efforts. Thursdays, with me being out of town, and did not attend the Hyrox training or the Hyrox course, but I did end up getting my 7 miles in, 7 miles easy. Friday, 7 miles easy. I flew back on that day on Friday, and then Saturday I ended up having a little bit of a longer run scheduled, where it was 14 total miles as opposed to 13 from the week one before. And then on Saturday was track day with the Hyrox Run Club, where we did the same workout as last week. However, we doubled it. So we had 2 1,000-meter efforts, 2 800-meter efforts, 2 600-meter efforts, and 2 400-meter efforts. And again, as those distances got shorter, the paces ended up getting faster. So overall, was a good week. Had a few challenges with the tempos, but ultimately ended up pushing through, and at the end of the week ended up with just over 58 miles on the week. Peak week, this week 3 of the training block. This is typically where we get the most miles for this 4-week block. So as we look through the week, Monday was a 7-mile easy run. Tuesday was a double tempo effort again, where in the morning was 25 minutes, so another 5 minutes on top of what we did the previous week. And so that workout was a bit of a challenge from the standpoint of the humidity. Here in Houston, it was brutal. Ended up having to stop once, but I ended up pushing through, and I did end up hitting all the paces. I just kind of had to let my heart rate come down somewhere around minute 20. Really focused on recovery throughout the day. And then that afternoon, my daughter ended up graduating from kindergarten and moving on to 1st grade, so we attended that. And then shortly afterwards, I ended up having my 25-minute tempo PM session, and I just absolutely crushed that workout. From the start, I felt in control all the way through the 25 minutes. Ended up actually running faster than what the target pace was there towards the end. Overall, a huge confidence builder from the standpoint of being able to do that workout twice in one day and end it on a good note. So then Wednesday moved into 5 miles recovery. Thursday, I decided not to do the Hyrox training class in the morning, mainly because on Saturday I signed up for Hyrox Strong, where I ended up doing pretty well. Ended up 2nd in the group, and but I did get my 7 miles in on Thursday morning. Just wanted to kind of recover and rest up for the hard weekend. And then on Friday, I had the 7-mile easy. And on Saturday, I ended up having 15-mile long run, so 1 additional mile compared to the previous week. I ended up getting up super early because I wanted to have plenty of time to get breakfast before the Hyrox Strong competition. And so I knocked out the 15 miles before 7 o'clock a.m. That gave me about 2.5 hours to kind of chill and get some breakfast, get some calories in me. And then we headed up to BC Fitness for the competition. The competition was great. There was a lot of competitors. Shout out to Jonathan for the push there at the competition. And then on Sunday, ended up going out to the track, and we ended up doing a little bit of a different workout where it was more of a relay style, and we did 400-meter intervals, which was kind of good considering the hard day on Saturday. And so we ended up doing 8 400-meter intervals kind of as a group and using each other to kind of pace off of the group. So overall, the peak week for this first training block was a success. Had a few bumps in the road as we went through, but I think overall, I'm happy with where I'm at so far in this first block. Week 4 in this training block, also known as the recovery week, we will typically take the miles down a bit, and it's essentially the same types of workouts or the same workouts that I did in week 1. So looking at a 6-mile easy on Monday, 15-mile double tempos on Tuesday, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 5-mile easy on Wednesday, Thursdays, Hyrox training in the morning, followed up with 6 miles easy. And then on Friday was 7 miles easy. Saturday was a 13-mile long run, and Sunday was track intervals at the track. So overall, ended up with around 55 miles for the week. Thanks for joining me in this first video of this video series, Project 250, in my journey to the 2025 Chicago Marathon. I'm excited to document this journey and have you guys kind of sit in and listen to some of the things that I'm going to have to go through, or the things that I'm going to go through this summer as I build up towards the marathon. I'm excited to kind of outline the training. We'll get into some other topics as it relates to shoes and nutrition and recovery. But overall, I'm just grateful that I'm able to do this. It's really changed my life, and I'm excited to continue to push and get better. Join me next time for episode 2, where we will outline block 2 of this training block. We'll also dive into some of the different shoes that I'm using for the various types of runs that I'm doing throughout the training. So looking forward to it, and hope to see you next time.